Vice President Kamala Harris has not received the official DNC nomination just yet, but she is already facing some intense scrutiny.
A representative from Tennessee is now filing articles of impeachment against Harris as Republicans ramp up attacks while she launches her presidential campaign. The filing expands on previously introduced articles that target Harris's record on immigration. A second article in the new filing, which claims Harris covered up President Biden's mental well-being, constituting a breach of public trust.
We want to bring in Chief Legal Analyst Kelly Rhodes to talk about this. I want to give you full time to be able to explain what this means. But my first question is, is this legal?
It's legal. I mean, if you're in the Senate or the House, you can in this House, I should say, you can bring these articles of impeachment. And most of the time they're grounded on something. I think the term impeachment has been misused over the last few years. After former President Trump was impeached, it took kind of a leg of its own, and so now we're using it as a way to, like, if I just don't agree with you, if I don't think that I like the way you're doing it, as opposed to having the voters vote you out of office. Now I'll impeach you, and there really has to be no basis for me filing the articles of impeachment. They filed these in 2023. 2021, similar articles were filed. They didn't make it out of committee. And so I do think we're in a different era than we were in 2021. And so just like Mayorkas, the Homeland Security chair, they brought those against him. It went through. I think these will have more legs than the ones in 2021 because A, we're closer to the presidential election, and then B, we're just at an extremely divided place as a country. We're not even like Grand Canyon sides of divide. We're like different continent sides of divide. And so now when you have people file these type of articles, there will be legs to at least have a conversation of what's there. What's there is they're alleging that she didn't, talk about President Biden, I should say, in his mental state. Well, that's not really the position of the vice president. And then the second portion about calling her the border czar. Yes, he put her in a position to make sure that relations between the Central American countries, progressed. But in terms of her having some type of control over that, that's the federal government, not just the vice president, but that's all the branches of the government ensuring that the border is secure.
Yeah, do the impeachment here. It certainly is a watered down of and diminishing the whole process of what impeachment here is, of the weight of what it really is all about.
You think of Nixon, you think of Clinton, you think of folks that went through that process prior to the Trump. These were like earth-shattering things. When the president was about to get impeached, when someone in the executive branch was going to be impeached, it stopped everything. It didn't just become, headline news. It was like, wow, how is this happening? Now it's just
it's by design, by political intention here, but also, too, to highlight one of the big issues that the GOP has going forward, which is immigration.
It is. And for the immigration issue, you can hit home on that a number of times. You're talking about a number of people that have been harmed by people coming over the border illegally. And so how do I connect, something negative that we believe the Democrats have done, and we have to have a face for it. Someone has to be the fall guy or the fall woman. In this sense, the fall woman will be the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. It connects in terms of the timeline, but I don't think there's legs for this to go anywhere.
But there's also, too, when you think of impeachment, before when you would hear about it, it was like a shame. Now I think that has changed because what happens when you're impeached?
Well, it was a shame before. Now the Republican Party, specifically former President Trump, made it a badge of honor. And again, that goes to the testament of who he is as a marketer. I'll take something negative that you say against me and I'll make it a positive. And the only thing that is worse is once these articles of impeachment, they still got to make it through the Senate. So even if she is impeached through the House of Representatives, it has no chance, absolutely zero chance of making it out of the Senate. So again, grandstanding, posturing, political gerrymandering, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, this is not going further than making it out of committee.
Kelly Rhodes, appreciate your insight.